And a very good Monday afternoon and evening, everyone. Joe Benigno back with you again, the Oda Pain Podcast, Monday, April 14th, 2025. The Joe Benigno Oda Pain Podcast brought to you by the Hackensack Brewing Company, by Anita Discount Tire, and of course by Manscaped. I'll tell you, you know, there's only probably a few times in your life where you get to see just an epic sporting event. Epic sporting event. And we got to witness one yesterday in the Masters with Rory McIlroy slaying the dragon, finally winning, getting the Holy Grail, and winning the Masters, and of course, winning the career Grand Slam, becoming only the sixth player in golf history to win the career Grand Slam. And this I can't say enough about how great it was yesterday. There was so many things involved in this. First of all, you gotta really give it to Rory because he hung in there. This was a crazy round. I mean, you go back to the opening round. Remember, he was 6 under par at one point, or excuse me, 4 under par at one point in the opening round. And, 3 shots behind Justin Rose, who was the leader at that point. And who knew Justin Rose was going to wind up gotten himself back to being a playoff on Sunday with McIlroy. Who had that one coming into Sunday? I don't think anybody had that. But McIlroy, had those 2 double bogeys on Thursday. He actually had 2 double bogeys yesterday. How crazy was it? How many times yesterday did Rory McIlroy have to make that shot? You sit there and you say, okay, there's the shot that just won him the Masters, right? I mean, he must have had 4 or 5 of those yesterday where, okay, this is the shot now that's going to, finally win it for him. Maybe that shot he had on 13 that we saw yesterday, right? Getting over the water after DeChambeau actually put his shot in the water. Right? I mean, think about that. And DeChambeau, if you would have told me at the start of Sunday with, DeChambeau and Rory basically going head-to-head, DeChambeau sinking that 35-foot birdie putt on Saturday to get him within 2 of Rory and into the final pairing with Rory on Sunday. At the start of the day yesterday, to me, this was a 2-horse race. It was either DeChambeau or Rory. Like I said, if you would have told me Justin Rose would have basically come out of nowhere and found his way into a sudden playoff with McIlroy, I would have said you're out of your mind. But this was what a job he did. I mean, just some of the shots you think about. You think about the shot on 13 out of the pine straw on Friday that he wound up getting an eagle on. I mean, and of course, as it turned out, the biggest shot he hit all day. Well, remember, he hit the big shot on 17 to get the birdie there and take the 1-shot lead over Rose. And you thought he had it, right? At that point, at the end of the 17th hole, he's 12 under. Rose is 11 under in the clubhouse after Justin made that unbelievable birdie putt on 18. And he was so, I mean, you could see how pumped up Rose was because he knew if he didn't make, the only shot he had to win this tournament was to make that putt. And he did. And what a putt it was. And how about Rose? I mean, he's a guy, think about this. 5 times he has led the Masters after the first round. He was the leader after the second round in this Masters as well. And he's never won. And he's lost now twice in playoffs. He lost in a playoff to Sergio Garcia in 2017. And he loses yesterday in this playoff to Rory McIlroy. I mean, you got to feel for Justin Rose, too. I mean, he's a great golfer. When we talk about the top golfers that there are, rarely do we talk about Rose. And he's right there, right? Think about it. Now, he's only won 1 major, that U.S. Open at Marion a number of years ago. He has won a gold medal. So you got that in his resume as well. And he's been close a lot. Like I said, 5 times leading the majors after the first round and twice losing in a playoff. Just unbelievable. You really had a feel for Rose. And, and the way he played yesterday. He had 10 birdies yesterday. Think about this. He started the day yesterday 7 shots behind Rory. Rory was 12 under. Bryson was 10 under. And Justin Rose was 5 under par starting yesterday. And he wound up in a playoff with McIlroy. Just unbelievable. Wound up with 10 birdies. You can't, crazy, right? I mean, I don't know what else you can say. Just absolutely crazy. And how about the way it started yesterday, too? 2-shot lead. First hole, McIlroy double bogeys the first hole. And then Bryson birdies 2 and actually is leading the tournament now. Basically a 3-shot swing after the second hole. And right after that, Bryson DeChambeau, I thought, really collapsed after that. And I want to say this too, okay? And I really love DeChambeau. And look, we've talked about this endlessly, that the Live Tour and the PGA Tour, they have to somehow come to some agreement. They have to get together somehow or some way, because there's too many big guys that we need to see all the time. Whether it's Brooks Koepka, whether it's Phil Mickelson, whether it's Patrick Reed, who actually wound up being third. He wound up 9 under par when all was said and done, right? Joaquin Neiman. We have Cameron Smith. There's so many different guys. Sergio, all these different guys that are on the Live Tour right now, but nobody is more important than DeChambeau, because DeChambeau is a rock star in golf. When I look at the world of golf, okay, right now, the 3 best players in golf, in my mind, the 3 top players in the game are McIlroy, who's just had an amazing year, because now McIlroy, obviously the Grand Slam, but this year alone, he's won Pebble, he's won the Players, and he's won the Masters. And he's only the 3rd guy ever with Tiger and Scheffler to win the Masters and the Players in the same year, which is, he just had an amazing year, Rory. There's no other way to say it. But to me, the 3 top golfers in the world are McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, and DeChambeau. Those are the 3 top guys. And the PGA Tour needs him. He's a rock star. To me, he's the biggest star in golf right now. And I understand Rory, maybe it's Rory, but it's a little different feel to DeChambeau than it is to Rory. And the PGA Tour needs him. They need his flair. They need everything about him. And I was mentioning this, and I lost my train of thought for a second, but after the 3rd round on Saturday, I'm going around, I'm bouncing around, and I put on the Golf Channel to, kind of see a little more discussion about the 3rd round on Saturday. And they pan out to the range, and there's DeChambeau with buckets, just like buckets of balls, hitting irons, because his iron play was shaky on Saturday. His short game was great, and that's what kept him as close as he was on Saturday. But there's DeChambeau hitting bucket at like 100-something balls after just playing, a tough 18 holes in the 3rd round of the Masters. To me, maybe that's why he didn't play well yesterday, because maybe he was burned out. Even a guy like him, 30 years old, whatever he is, maybe he was burned out with all the balls he was hitting on the range, and it took something out of him, and he wasn't the same guy on Sunday. He wound up 3 over par. Hit some bad shots. Hit that shot on 13 into 15, I guess it was, into the water. He wound up parring it when all was said and done. But Rory wound up with the eagle on that hole. Actually, I guess it was 15, not 13, the hole I was thinking about. 13 was on Friday, the one out of the pine straw that he hit to about 12 feet for eagle. But just, unbelievable how many times we saw McIlroy have to win this tournament. And look, when you're chasing the Holy Grail, and I say this all the time, when you are trying to slay the dragon, when you're chasing the Holy Grail, it's never easy. It's never going to be easy. The Red Sox, look what the Red Sox had to do to end the curse of the Bambino. Come from 3-0 down in the ALCS back in 2004 to beat the Yankees and win that series, the only team in the history of baseball ever to come back from 3-0 to win a best out of 7. And then they go on to sweep the Cardinals to win it. But when they beat the Yankees, they had won the World Series basically at that point. There was no way they weren't winning it now. An epic situation to slay the curse of the Bambino. When the Cubs finally won, right? From, 1908, hadn't won in 1,000 years, right? Fast forward into 2016, right? 108 years that they didn't win. And remember, they were down 3-1 in that series to Cleveland. And then all these twists and turns and the epic Game 7. And finally, winning that game and winning that World Series. It had to be epic for a team like the Cubs, 108 years, right? It's never easy. And the same thing was with Rory McIlroy yesterday, right? It had to be epic. It wasn't just going to be a cakewalk. At one point yesterday, he had a 4-shot lead. And again, if you would have told me at the start of yesterday that he would be in a playoff with Justin Rose, I'd say you're out of your mind. Just incredible. It was just incredible. And, he makes the big shot on 17. He gets the birdie. Now he's got a one-shot lead. Rose is on the range, hanging out to see what happens. Now he's got a one-shot lead. And what happens, right? Gets to 18, gets in a little trouble, and winds up missing the putt for par that would have won the tournament right then and there. And I thought it was funny. And the first thing you're thinking about is last year's U.S. Open when Rory missed all those putts and wound up blowing the tournament to DeChambeau. I mean, that happened last year. So here he is, a par putt away, maybe a 5-6 foot putt, which I thought for all the world he was going to make, and he bogeys, and now we're in a playoff. And I thought it was funny after all was said and done. Again, I'm watching the Golf Channel, listening to Brandel Chambly, all these different guys that are Rich Lerner, the guys on the Golf Channel, and they had Jack Nicklaus on, and he was giving his perspective on McElroy and all of that. Of course, Nicklaus, one of the 6 guys now to have won the Grand Slam and all that, the all-time 18 majors, a record that nobody's touching, let's be honest. Now that Tiger's basically done, who's winning 18 majors? As great as Rory McIlroy is, he's only got 5. Think about it. I mean, that's a long way away from 13, as great as he is. So, I don't know if anybody's, getting close to that record anytime soon. But Nicklaus is on afterwards, and he says he knew that Rory was going to miss that putt. He knew it. He knew he was going to miss. And he had some weird moments. How about, again, when he hit the ball in the water on 13, you're saying to yourself, why is he laying up here? Because he did. He laid up, right? He had a good layup, and then he mishits a wedge into the creek, right? Winds up with a double bogey. Has anybody ever had? He actually had 4 double bogeys in the entire 4 rounds. Because remember, he had 2 on opening day as well, right? And he started out yesterday with a double bogey right away in the first hole. Then he has the other double bogey that we're talking about. Has anybody ever won the Masters with 4 double bogeys and 2 double bogeys in the last round? I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever done that. That's crazy. But it was an epic sporting event yesterday. And like I said, when you're chasing the Holy Grail, it's got to be epic. It's not going to be easy. And God knows it certainly wasn't easy for Rory yesterday. And even the playoff hole, because they replay 18. I thought they were going to play Amen Corner, but they replay 18, right? Both guys hit tremendous drives right down the middle. And then Rose comes up and hits a great shot that basically hits basically next to the pin. And then he gets kind of a bad rollout to now where he's got about a 12, 13-foot putt coming back for birdie. And then Rory steps up and hits even a better shot, to within maybe 5 feet. Rose just misses the birdie putt. And, of course, Rory makes his birdie putt and finally just, completely breaks down on the green to finally have gotten this done and gotten that weight off his shoulders. Not only winning the Grand Slam, not only winning the Masters, but having gone 11 years between winning a major championship, right? I mean, that's been well documented over the years. It took him 11 years now to finally get that one. And, and remember, go all the way back to 2011 when he was just a young kid, 20-something-year-old kid, right? And he had, a 4-shot lead on the last day of the Masters and wound up blowing it. And, that had to be sticking in the back of his mind. And as I'm watching this yesterday, as I'm realizing that there's going to be a playoff now with Rose, I'm saying to myself, boy, Rory can't lose this now. I mean, can he ever, if he blows this now, could he ever recover from not winning yesterday? And it's, something we're never going to know. So congratulations to him. It was just an epic golf tournament yesterday. Look, I haven't been watching golf as long as I'm watching all the other sports. It took me a while to really get into golf. Everybody knows it. 2001 when Jerry Recco took me out. And, I used to all the time say, oh, golf, it's an elitist sport. I'll never play that. You gotta be a skazillionaire to play this. It's all hoity-toity and la-di-da and all of that, right? And then Jerry Recco takes me out on July 4th weekend, all the way back in 2001. And I think I hit I don't think we played 18. I think we wound up playing 16 holes that day. It was a pretty hot day. And maybe I hit 2 shots good all day. Maybe 2, right? Probably 1 all day. And we go to have a drink afterwards, and we're sitting at the bar. Glenwood. Is it Glenwood Country Club? I believe it's Glenwood. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. And I'm sitting there at the at the bar afterwards with Recco. And Recco figures I'm going to tell him, look, I'm never playing this game again. No, this game, this game sucks. I don't even want to see it again. And what do I tell Jerry? Jerry couldn't believe it. I said, I couldn't wait to play again. I said, I'm ready to play tomorrow. And that was the beginning of it. And, here I am almost 25 years later. And as I always say, it took me 20 years to get bad. And we played today, and I was very up and down to, I hit my strength of my game is my driver. I mean, I'm consistent off the tee, just like my wife's very consistent off the tee. If I could do everything like I hit my driver, I'd be a good golfer. That's pretty much where it's at. Very up and down today. But anyway, so I don't go back to the early 60s like I do with football and baseball, basketball, hockey, I don't go back that far with golf. But in the last 25, 30 years that I'm actually watching golf now, it's the best tournament I ever saw. I mean, it's not even close. There was some good ones. Obviously, when Tiger won the Masters in 2019, that was a great tournament. A lot of drama there. A lot of guys had to lead that last day. A lot of guys, killed themselves on the 12th hole, which we've seen over and over again. Molinari hit one in the water on 15. We could go on and on. That was a great one. You go back to the Masters when Jordan Spieth, I guess it was 2016, was going for his second straight Masters, second straight green jacket, had the lead, had a nice lead, and then hit the ball, 2 balls in the water on 12, never recovered. Danny Willett wound up winning that. I don't know if Spieth's ever recovered from that, period, to be very honest with you. There's been a couple other ones, that Great British Open a number of years ago where Mickelson and Henrik Stenson went mano right down the stretch, and Stenson eventually won that. So there's been a lot of, really, really outstanding major golf tournaments over the years. There's no doubt about it. But this was the best I ever saw. I mean, there was nothing like yesterday. Absolutely phenomenal. And, I think one of the problems is that people who don't play golf can't really understand how tremendous that was yesterday. And I don't know what the ratings were. Yesterday on CBS, but they had to be up there. But it was an epic tournament. Congratulations to McElroy. You will never see a better, a more dramatic sporting event than the Masters. And the Masters is right up there, man. It's a different feel than the team sports. It's a different feel than even the World Series or the Super Bowl or anything like that, the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup final, whatever finals. It's a different feel because it's you against the course. And just the incredible pressure and the pressure that McElroy had on him yesterday, and he finally got it done. So just a tremendous day yesterday, and 4 days at Augusta. All right, Benigno, the Yoda Pain podcast. Let's get our sponsors in here. Of course, the Hackensack Brewing Company. Don't forget, we'll let you know when it'll be July, sometime in the middle of July when we really get into the summer and the hot weather. That'll be our next live podcast. We'll let you know when that is. Now, I've talked forever about my son and Harry and his boss and everybody over at Need a Discount Tire. Whatever work you need done on your car, you need your car inspected. I know we got to get our car inspected shortly. Whatever you need, they'll get it done for you. Whatever you need. You need tires, whatever work on your car. My son, Johnny, finally got our key fob fixed because every time we had to open the door with our little key, the alarm went off. Looks like we got that straightened out. So you got that done again. That was a pain in the ass and all of that. But check out a Need a Discount Tire. And again, it's in beautiful Rivervale, New Jersey on Westwood Avenue. Tell them Benigno sent you. And then our good friends at Manscaped. And look, it is National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. And right now, Manscaped is putting action behind their words and donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society to help save lives and promote routine self-checks. They just dropped a special edition bundle to help support an amazing cause. The TCS Ball Hero Bundle includes my favorite, the Lawnmower 5.0, which I've told you about for a long time, that takes care of business down below. Keeps you nice and clean down there, looking fresh, and giving you, as I say all the time, the illusion of those extra inches, and we all want extra inches, guys, right or wrong. Also, the Ultra TCS Special Edition and the Special Edition TCS Boxers 2.0. I have the tidy whiteys, whatever you want to call them. They're not white, they're black, but they're great. I love the underwear. I got them on now. I wore them to play golf. They keep everything in place, keep your balls in place. You know, the only balls you want are the ones you're trying to hit. And so the underwear are great. And I've told you forever about the Manscaped shampoo and conditioner. I use it for body wash. It's absolutely tremendous. So check it out. Join over the 12 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Use the code PAIN for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Again, April National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. Got to check it out. And as I said, Manscaped's putting $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society to help save lives. Check it out again. All right. The special edition, the TCS Ball Hero Bundle, the Lawnmower 5.0, Ultra, the TCS Special Edition, and the Special Edition TCX Boxers 2.0. Check out Manscaped. You will be very happy you did. All right, Benigno, the Oda Pain podcast. Now, as far as the Mets yesterday, Mets with a nice 8-0 win yesterday over the A's in Sacramento. They took 2 out of 3 there. They're 10-5. You know, right now, Senga went 7 innings yesterday. Right now, considering that you're really getting very little from Juan Soto, I know he's walking a lot, but you know, Juan Soto so far through 15 games has not looked like a $770 million ball player. You know, but nobody's complaining at this point because the Mets are 10-5. But think about it. Soto hasn't been phenomenal. Lindor hasn't been phenomenal, though he had a nice game yesterday. Vientos has basically done nothing. You know, you've gotten nothing out of guys like Brett Beatty. The only two guys, Nimmo's hit a little bit. He had a couple home runs in against Oakland. You know, he's hit a little bit, hasn't been too bad. He's got 4 homers, 9 RBIs, whatever he has. But they've really been carried by Pete Alonso, who had a couple off games now, which you figure is going to cool down a little bit. You know, the last 2 games in Oakland or in Sacramento, he wasn't great, but still, he's basically been carrying the team. 4 homers, 18 RBIs. He's been great. And the other guy who's really hit is Luis Torrens. I mean, Torrens has been phenomenal. 3 RBIs yesterday, a couple hits yesterday. I think he had 3 hits actually yesterday, a couple doubles. He's been off the charts. Right now, he's over 1,000 OPS. Let me ask you this. And with Alvarez out, the combination of Torrens and Senga behind the plate have actually done a pretty good job. And Torrens, he's 3 for 3 throwing out base runners. He's been terrific defensively. Remember that play when he got the guy at the plate? I forget what series that was. Was it against Toronto? When he nailed the guy at the plate on what looked to be a bad throw by Brett Beatty, and he came all the way across to make a big play and get a big out for the Mets that was actually called safe and then was overturned after they reviewed it. Torrens has been great. You tell me, do I really want to see Francisco Alvarez when he comes back take the starting catching job from Torrens? Do I want to see that? I mean, I don't see how you do that. I really don't. I mean, to me, he's got to play. Like I said, next to Alonso, he's been the hottest hitter. So, look, the Mets are 10-5. The bullpen's been very good. I know Diaz has been shaky, but still, the bullpen has been very good. Got to be happy with what they've done. And we saw the starting pitch has been okay in the last 2 games now. On Saturday with David Peterson, who went 6 innings, and then yesterday with Senga, who went 7. You know, maybe now you're starting to see a little bit more length with the starting rotation. So we'll see. But there's not a Met fan out there that wouldn't have signed for 10-5. And like I said, with the slow start Soto's gotten off to, with the fact you've got nothing out of Vientos, right? Lindor's been up and down. You know, like I said, Brett Beatty's done nothing. I mean, and I think he'll be gone, or either be in the minors or gone. I don't know if he still has options when Jeff McNeil comes back, which is going to be soon. To me, you got to keep Luis Angel Acuña's got to stay on the team. To me, he should be playing every day at second base right now ahead of Beatty anyway. but that's me. So, you know, when considering all that, and the Mets are 10-5, you got to be thrilled right now if you're a Met fan. And the Mets now, they're playing actually 13 straight days. The Mets played the Minnesota Twins. What, they got 3 games with Minnesota coming up? Then when they play 4 with the Cardinals at City? Is that what it is? I think they got 3 in Minnesota. I know they got 3 in Minnesota. Then they play the Cardinals 4 coming up over the weekend at City Field. So right now, I'll take it. If you're a Met fan right now, you'll take it. What else are you going to say? We'll see what happens. Now, by the way, it's over for the Rangers. No surprise. I said this a long time ago. The Rangers were not making the playoffs. I think they got 2 games left. It doesn't matter. Tampa Bay or Carolina put them out of their misery Saturday with another set with a 7-3 destruction. And there's going to be a lot of changes on this team. And I think Laviolette's probably going to get fired, but I've said it before. To me, the biggest guy, the guy that deserves the most blame is Chris Drury, the GM. And I don't see how he's getting a free pass. I haven't heard anybody in the media say, maybe Drury's the guy that's got to blame and maybe he should go. So, and the Rangers go through coaches. Like I said, they make the Jets look like they're the most stable, like they're the Steelers, okay, with the way that the Rangers go through coaches. Just unbelievable how bad it is with them. Every couple of years, they got a new coach. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Could be a lot of changes over the year. And like I said, over the off season, like I said, the biggest change should be the changing of the GM. Now, the Knicks will open up the playoffs either Saturday or Sunday. I don't know if they've determined that yet. Maybe they'll see what happens when the play-in starts tomorrow. They'll play the Detroit Pistons. They'll have the home court advantage. Like I said, it'll start either Saturday or Sunday. And we'll see what happens. I mean, right now, you can't be thrilled. They beat the Nets yesterday when nobody played to finish the season at 51-31. They're locked into that 3rd seed. As I said, they'll play the Pistons in the first round. Detroit beat the Knicks actually 3 out of 4 times this year. So this is not going to be any easy series. And as I always caution when I'm talking about the Knickerbockers in the playoffs, you have to win game 1 at home. The Knicks have never won a playoff series when they lost game 1 at home. So keep that in mind on Saturday or Sunday when they open up the playoff series against Detroit. And how about this, what they did yesterday? I mean, this is to me, this is Bush, what the Knicks did yesterday. So Mikal Bridges has this long-standing consecutive game streak in the NBA, 800 something, whatever it is, right? Played every game this year, all of that. So they basically rested everybody. Thibodeau basically rested everybody, right? He played all the backups yesterday. He starts Bridges, right? He's in there for 5 seconds, fouls somebody, and then he comes out to keep the streak alive. What do you mean? Oh, you got to be kidding! Could he at least play 5 minutes? Seriously, I mean, if he would have started yesterday and played the first 5 minutes of the game, and Thibodeau took him out and didn't bring him back in to keep the streak alive, I got no problem with it. 5 minutes, that's all. But 5 seconds, and then you take him out? That's keeping the streak alive? To me, it needs an asterisk, doesn't it? Unbelievable. That's a bad job by Thibodeau. Let the guy play 5 minutes, 2 minutes even. 5 seconds? What a disgrace. That's a disgrace. And one other thing, too, while we're talking about the Knicks, Stan Van Gundy can stick it. He had these comments yesterday ripping the Knicks fans, and Knicks fans are front runners. The Knicks fans will boo the team if they're not playing well. Well, wake up and smell the coffee, Stan. You know what? The Knicks fans suffered through 20-plus years of being probably the worst franchise in professional sports, okay? The Jets have taken over for that now. Why not? Probably 20-something years where they just stunk. They were in the freaking abyss, okay? Nobody wanted to come here. I don't know. We could go on and on, right? Terrible. Well, now they finally got a decent team, right? They've been to the second round of the playoffs 2 years in a row. They've won 50 games now 2 years in a row. They better get to the second round this year. I don't think they're getting by that because they're going to be probably playing the Celtics and it'll be all over. But I don't want to hear it from Stan Van Gundy. What fan base is thrilled about their team when they suck? Right? I mean, give me a break. You get booed. This is New York. You get booed if you're winning. How long is it going to be? Stan, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. How long is it going to be before Juan Soto, if he continues to be as pedestrian as he's been so far this year through 15 games, how long will it be before he's getting booed at Citi Field? You think that's not going to happen? But that doesn't mean we don't love our team, Stan. We want to win, all right? You root for the teams I root for, they don't win. The Knicks haven't won a championship since 1973. Were you even born, Stan? Probably. You're older than you look. You're older than you look, Stan. 1973 they haven't won, okay? My football team hasn't won since 1968. My baseball team hasn't won since 1986. My hockey team hasn't won since 1994. I mean, it's not like they're lining up freaking championships all over the place, all right? So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to throw a party when our team sucks? Really? Is that what we're supposed to do? And they're going to hear it. And I'm telling you, the Knicks fans aren't going to be happy if they get whacked by the Celtics. I don't think they're going to get a standing ovation if they lose Game 4 at home and get swept by Boston in the second round. Maybe I'm nuts. So, screw you, Stan. You know? Maybe you should start hitting the salad bar. But whatever. All right. Everybody, enjoy. I'm starting to get a little cramp on my legs, so I got to move. Enjoy your week. The weather's getting better. Enjoy it. I'll be back on Friday for the next live podcast. Saturday, of course, for the
Not live.
for the WFAN show, 10 to 1. What?
You're not. You said live.
Oh, no. If I said live, I don't know. No, I will be live, actually, on Saturday at 10 o'clock. I'll be live. You know, I will be. And by the way, I want to thank Glenn Carlo and everybody over at the Steel Wheel Tavern yesterday in Ridgewood, New Jersey, 51 North. I'll give them a little pop, North Main Street. Want to thank them again for the great party we had yesterday. My wife's 50th birthday yesterday, and they did a great job for us there. So that was great. So we thank Glenn, we thank Cheryl, we thank Alex, we thank everybody over at the Steel Wheel Tavern. Everybody, all the love, and of course, God bless America.